Zev.
Hey, Mario. Long time no see. How you been?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good.
What are you working on around now?
Actually, I'm really excited about this. I found a piece of land at the corner of Forest Hill and St. Clair.
Oh, that's a beautiful spot.
Yeah, 2 Forest Hill Road. It's unbelievable.
The area is great. It's a beautiful area. The people are great.
What I love about it is that I'm a 3rd-generation real estate developer. So my father was a developer and my grandfather. So I have that little lineage like you do where we have a heritage in this industry and this is where our roots are. And it's home. It's my home. This village is my home.
Home is where the heart is. I would say home is also where you feel zen and love. You know, home truly is not just a word, but it has to be your entire sort of comfort zone for being able to be zen. That is what home really feels and means to me.
Home is a very personal thing. And I think when we speak about creating a home, what we're trying to achieve in the design of this building, in the detail of the building, is to give you that sense of home. So we're using real limestone in combination with granite. The limestone we saw as a timeless material, something that would weather quite well. And we use the black granite on the windows to accent the vertical nature of the building. We felt that the combination of the two materials made it feel very conducive to the neighborhood, and it reminds us of the Forest Hill aesthetic.
When we're designing the homes within the condominium, they reflect the type of features and lifestyle that the purchaser was accustomed to. So in this case, one can expect a palette of rich, warm woods, exotic stones, a layering of lush materials, textures, and warm accents to create that opulent living experience. We know that in this neighborhood, there'll be a lot of people coming from larger homes. When we're planning the spaces, it's key to have essentially a defined foyer that you can come home to. So it's much like what you felt or the feeling that you had when you had your existing home.
The north side of the building has a series of terraces that give you the sense of creating your own personal backyard. It basically enhances the northern view because you've got a series of terraces that overlook the north part of Forest Hill.
When it comes to Forest Hill, I see something very remarkable. The elegance, the luxury is taken to a level that for the prominence of the location. The amenities, there's a wine cellar, the concierge, the spaces are massive, a valet entry, really in keeping to the prestige, the elegance, and the luxury called for in such a location.
We want to make every element of this building feel timeless, and that of course extends all the way to the uniforms. If you've spoken to Altry about how passionate they're about this, you'll understand that it's not really about putting up just another building. They want a thoughtfulness and an approach to every element and every touch point, and I think that's what aligned us very well with this project, because it's really our mantra on the services side and their mantra on the developer side.
I realized that this is the connection, this is the bridge between a home and a condo. This Forest Hill Private Residences is exactly what people are looking for. It's exactly that bridge where you have all the luxuries of a 5-star condo, where you have all the luxuries that come with a 5-star hotel and spa that you'd be accustomed to, with the services and the amenities, yet still has that feeling of home. It still provides you that feeling of coming home.
Hi everyone, thank you for joining us today. My name is Kara Hirsch from Hirsch & Associates, and with me is Jordan DeBrinket of Altry Developments, and we're thrilled to be able to share with you an inside look into the brilliant minds behind Forest Hill Private Residences, which I'm sure many of you know is a new luxury boutique condominium in the Forest Hill neighborhood developed by Altry.
This evening, we will be joined in a series of interviews by some of the best and brightest designers, creators, and industry-leading professionals. These visionaries behind Forest Hill Private Residences will be here with us tonight to discuss what makes Forest Hill's newest luxury boutique condominium so unique, and will also provide us with their insights into Toronto's luxury real estate market.
To keep things on track, we will be taking questions at the end of the webinar via the chat.
So without further ado, and on behalf of the entire team at Altry Developments, thank you all for taking the time to be with us this evening, and we hope you enjoy.
And first of our guests this evening is Charles Caboth. As one of the city's leading entertainment figures, owner and operator of several hotels, restaurants, and venues, and a foremost expert on luxury offerings. There isn't a better person to speak on the evolution of the luxury market in Toronto and how it continues to evolve and develop. Thanks, Charles, for joining us.
Thank you.
When we speak about luxury real estate, there are many similarities between homes and hotels. In your experience, what are people looking for when they pick a luxury hotel to stay in?
Really, it's mainly attention to details, a little more space than usual, and as often as possible, what's the most popular these days is some outdoor space. Everybody's always looking for some outdoor space, some fresh air, and just being taken care of overall. I mean, it's pretty well what we all need and want.
So we really, when we took into consideration when we were designing Forest Hill private residences, all the things that you had mentioned, we really took into consideration. One of the biggest things that we really tried to focus on was outdoor space. It's really important when people are moving from homes into condos, because that's what we're seeing a lot more, empty nesters or even first-time home buyers are moving into condos. We always want to give them that outdoor feel. So a lot of our units have, whether it be a balcony or a terrace, expanding whether they're city views or looking into Forest Hill. We didn't do just, the 1.5 meter deep terraces. They're 3 meters to have 10 feet so people can have, a dining set out there, a barbecue, and really enjoy life outside. And when we're talking about services, we really went, top notch. We were really trying to get hotel-like services in this building when it's offering 24/7 valet, offering 2 lobbies where we have a regular lobby where the guests can come into and a porter lobby for deliveries, groceries. We have a tremendous amount of indoor amenities, whether it be an indoor pool, a party room, and an outdoor oasis where people can enjoy. We really wanted to make the services and amenities extensions of people's homes. And it really goes towards what you're saying in terms of what people are looking for in a luxury market.
I mean, it's, what everybody thrives for. And recognition is really important in the high-end market and luxury market. People want to be recognized. So it's always important when, we have professional staff that are committed to be there for year after year, and whether it's valet or concierge or front door people, I think it's always important in the luxury market to have that where people really feel like they're going home. And I choose to live and stay in hotels when I travel based on where I'm recognized most, and where, especially now with COVID, we're looking for a little, outdoor space. I go back to that because that's become a big crucial point. And having funny enough, elevators that accommodate either more people or more elevators, because it seems like every building now there's a line up to the elevator, and people are a little bit concerned about having too many people in a small confined space. So these are very crucial, and these are things that we continue to get requests from people staying in our hotels. These are the things that have come up to the surface above and beyond what has been in the past.
Luxury is about walking into a space and feeling at home the moment you walk into the building. So, introducing, you come in and, your concierge is, hi Charles, it's great to see you again. How was your day? And knowing you by name, those are such crucial aspects. And it's the same thing when I stay at a 5-star hotel. Is that's the thing that I love about staying at a luxury hotel is those little things that a lot of people take for granted. We've really considered in this building, and I think it's so important. And I'll let you speak to elevators, because that was another really big one that we sat around the table and talked about.
Yeah, when you're looking at it from a developer's point of view, usually our rule is for every 100 units you have 1 elevator. For this building that's under 100 units, we had decided to do 3 elevators because it's all about the experience, and it's really exactly what you said. It's the experience of feeling home. It's that personal touch. When you're designing a building that's, 150,000 square feet, 3 elevators is normally unheard of, but to add on to what we're trying to offer in the building, which is an experience, is a feeling of coming home, the 3 elevators is something that we thought was really important because, no one wants to sit there and wait to go up to their floor. Everyone wants to be able to have that experience of coming in and, being, addressed right away, or whether going up to their suite right away. So that was something that was really important. It takes up a lot of space, but it was something that was really important for this building, given the caliber of what we're trying to achieve in that hotel-like experience. exactly what you said. The experience and the feeling is so important, and every small touch, we really nailed every step of the way, and we made sure that it was a thought and not an afterthought, which is really important and what we're really happy that we were able to capture in this building.
100%. I definitely think that you've probably touched on almost everything that I usually look for myself. And you know, myself lived in Forest Hill for many, many years, and throughout all my travels, I'm always looking for a 5-star property. And these are the main keys that people look for. As long as we're covered there, I think people will definitely enjoy coming home every day. It's very, very refreshing to have that.
And Charles, let me ask you, as a longtime Forest Hill resident yourself, what is it about the neighborhood's character that makes it so special?
Wow, I mean, Forest Hill was, since I ever landed in this country, was my #1 neighborhood that I thrive to live. And I've owned a home in Forest Hill for many, many years. Just that sense of community, family. There's a lot of people that are retired or semi-retired, just as much as there are families, young families with children. A lot of beautiful homes and landscaping anywhere you drive. And that to me is really what makes Forest Hill a great space, a great neighborhood to be in. You know, I consider myself a city slicker, and for me, living in such a beautiful neighborhood that was yet 3 minutes away from being downtown was very, very crucial. So, you know, the minute you get home, you feel like you're completely away from the city, yet in 3 minutes you could be right downtown. And to me, that was a big, big selling point. And then, you know, for that reason, I felt like this is probably the most perfect location to live.
Well, thank you so much for joining us this evening. We really appreciate it.
Maybe one day I get to buy you.
Yeah,
hopefully. You can
we have a unit ready for you.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Charles.
Thank you. Have a great
Thank you.
evening. Next to join us this evening, we have Robert Clopot, President and CEO of Forest Hill Group. Forest Hill Group services over 90 condo communities throughout Toronto and is a market leader for luxury concierge and complete property management services to condominium communities for the last 2 decades. Thank you, Robert, so much for joining us. Let's take a minute to talk about your business. The pandemic has affected all of us in a multitude of ways. Tell us how your business has been affected by COVID and how you have adapted.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. I think it's been obviously an interesting year to see some of the things that I think you and I, the three of us, were actually talking about almost 2 years ago, and seeing how quickly some of those trends have accelerated and actually become more obvious to us over the last 12 months. And what I mean by that is the real emphasis that we've seen in the requests for services. And across our entire portfolio, as more people were staying home more often, the work from home trend obviously took off, and no surprise to anyone, the volume of packages and generally the things that you order to your home every day have greatly increased. So I think with that in mind, things like the 2 lobbies, for example, something that we talked about while maintaining the discretion and privacy of residents by using that main lobby, while still having the ability to cater to the everyday service needs of people that are using the 24/7 valet or the porte cochere, or even just day-to-day deliveries, which we're seeing 200 to 300 of them a day across a lot of these size buildings. It really brought home a lot of the assumptions that we've made, and really the trends really accelerated to the point where it's now commonplace for existing communities to try to adapt in the way that we've already planned for with private residents of Forest Hill.
I mean, I'm going to tell my husband that he can't complain anymore. Everyone else is ordering packages to their home too, because I get that comment all the time.
I'm going to take that one as well.
That's right.
But I think, to your point, and yes, like we sat around a table 2 years ago and we talked about this, and even then we saw packages and deliveries being more common, because I think that, as humans, we want convenience. Convenience is so important to us. And, living in, and speaking from experience of lived in condominiums, that's the beauty of living in a condominium, is the package can come, the concierge takes it. And I think, but what we're seeing is all these condominiums that just we're not properly planning for them during the planning stage of the building. And that was really something, I mean, I know we all sat around and thought about, and that was why we did the 2 lobbies as well. It was a big one. And food delivery is becoming more and more popular. And this is well before COVID. And I think that was really something that we wanted to tackle here because, again, we want that experience when people walk in the door. And if you have all these delivery people and if you have all this food coming in, it really ruins the experience when you walk through the door, whether it's the resident or whether it's the visitor.
And we touched on this earlier with Charles Caboose when earlier this evening we were talking about it. It's almost as if we designed for this building knowing what was going to happen, even though we had no idea. From what we're seeing as well, and I'm sure you can echo this, is, obviously people are spending more time at home. So your home has become more and more important. And, being in a location, in a condominium specifically, where you could literally do anything you can and have everything you can at your fingertips here at Forest Hill Private Residences, I think that's something that's really important, because of the services that your team offers in terms of, the 24/7 valet and the porte cochere and, helping people bring up their groceries or dog walking services, personal trainers in our gym. We really did think about all that stuff when we were designing Forest Hill Private Residences because this is going to be a home for people.
And I think, to both your points, it really the goal is always to replicate a hotel style experience. And obviously in a boutique community like this one, you always have, space constraints and you want to make sure you get the amenities just right. And I think that when we looked at all the different experiences that you touched on that you can have within this building, it was really about thinking about the programming. So it wasn't just about grocery delivery services or stocking your fridge or to your point, vehicle delivery or freight forwarding, luggage delivery. Those things are very much, the norm and available to the residents here. But things like the wine steward program and having the dining room available to you and the spa, all these things kind of interwoven into the fabric of the community was really where we wanted to take this. And only now the concept's been validated because a lot of the projects that are out there, maybe a few years behind, are looking for the very things that we're now offering. So it's nice to see that we're all right.
Yeah, and even just, I always say it's always the little things. It's the little things that always get overlooked, and I really feel like we thought about all the little things when we were designing the building. Going more towards, the wine storage and the wine wall that we're gonna have a sommelier on staff, so any homeowners or guests are gonna have access to be able to have a sommelier help them pick wine for whatever they're cooking that day, or whether someone's hosting, a holiday dinner in the party room and they have it catered, you have a sommelier to help you pick wines. Or something even as small as the towel service that we have for the pool and the spa. It's all those small things that, when you're leaving your condo, you don't want to bring a towel down with you to go to a pool, just like you would be in a hotel or any resort. It really is that ease style of living where it's carefree. You could literally come downstairs with a robe and your bathing suit on, and you can have everything you need here because it's all readily available to you.
When you look at a boutique building, you don't typically get the amenities and the services that we're offering. You expect that in a hotel residence. But the thing is a lot of people don't want to live in a hotel residence. They don't want to have, public coming through their building. They want to have that residential feel and that boutique feel. And I think we really zoned in on that when we were designing this building to make sure that they still get all those benefits that they love when they visit a hotel and, they would love to be a part of, but it still feels like home when you walk through the door. We really designed the spaces as an expansion of a resident's home. And a lot of buildings, and I'm sure you can speak to it, and I've lived in condominium buildings, it's not really thought about that way. It's just, here's some amenities, maybe they'll use it, maybe they won't. But here we really wanted to be detail oriented on what are we offering is based on what the residents want. But also we want it to feel like it's just an expansion of their home. So the party room, we have a 20-seater dining table. The reason we all talked about that is a lot of people entertain a lot. They have family, their family is 20 people that come over for holiday dinners. Well here, because for a lot of people who are downsizing, they really have their hard time wrapping their head around, well, how will I entertain my family now or do, events like I used to in my home? This is a great example of that. You can come down, it's an expansion of your home. You can have a lovely dinner, you go into a lounge area, there's a separate caterer's kitchen, so it's all there for you. Whether, we've designed the units that you can still do it at home, but if you want that space and, it's easy to go up to your suite and then come down and have your dinner in your lounge space. So I think that was so important when we were all sitting around and it really speaks to the thoughtfulness that we put into every aspect of this project as a team. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And for being a part of this wonderful project and a part of our team. It was really great. Thank
really
you so
excited.
much.
Thank you so much, Rob.
Thank
you.
you. And now joining us this evening is Kelly Cray, principal at U31 Designs and one of the creative minds behind Forest Hill Private Residences. Kelly, thank you so much for joining us. When it comes to Forest Hill Private Residences, can you tell us what the aesthetic theme is and how you went about incorporating it into the designs of the building?
Yeah, well, I would say the concept was established pretty early on when we had a meeting with the Alltree team. So I recall at the time there was this kind of friendly divide between what the concept should be. Part of the team was leaning more towards a design that really reflected kind of New York's Upper East Side, where the other half of the team was leaning a little more towards a casual Miami theme. So to settle the friendly exchange, what we suggested is actually fusing the two. So in that case, we took a little bit of, we'll say New York, and really kind of, it's a fusion between New York and Miami. Yeah.
I mean, I was on the Miami side.
I mean, I was on the New York side, and it was actually the biggest feud was between Zeb and I, because he was on Miami and I was on New York. And I really feel that, a lot of the stuff that we took towards the amenities, where like the grand lobby, the 2-story height lobby, and a lot of the dark features that came into that, you really saw the whole New York theme. And I thought that was really where we brought that out. But when you look inside the suites, we really took that Miami sophistication with the clean lines and, the clean ceiling lines.
Spa-inspired bathroom.
Yeah, and the sleek kitchens. I really feel like that was where the fusing came in. And in my mind, when we were originally talking about it, I didn't really feel how the fuse was going to go and how we were really going to be able to match the whole, masculine, more so New York grand, to the sophisticated clean lines of Miami. But I think you did a fantastic job, and that's what really was the birth behind Forest Hill Private Residences.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I think it's come out, and I think anyone who's been into our presentation gallery, they see it. They feel that feeling when they come in here. And I think to speak even not just to the suite design, but let's go into the amenity design. I mean, we took that into the amenities as well. So as Jordan mentioned, the lobby and the double height and the dark and rich stones. But then if we look at our spa and like our pool area, it was much more sleeker, Miami feel to it. So your team really did blend it together, and sitting at the table in the beginning, I agree, you kind of didn't know how that was going to work out, but I think, can you speak to that a little bit? Like, how did you incorporate both?
Yeah, so we wanted one's journey to start in the lobby, and that kind of took on more, I would say, of the New York inspiration. And really, as then you traversed through the experience, it was really about kind of then taking some of that Miami and kind of mixing that in. So when you got to the pool area and the spa, it was really about kind of taking it back and going with something that's slightly more casual. And some of that's also reflected in the outdoor space, which is great.
Yeah, and that's been a big one for us too, is I think, one, the outdoor space that we have with the suites, I think that's so important, especially given now and people want to be able to enjoy, their outdoors and sit and eat dinner in the summer or sit and lounge. But then also we did that in the amenities space. So having those pieces and a lot of the greenery that we did and that you designed out on the amenities space as well, it really feels like an expansion of, like a backyard expansion of their home.
And I really do feel, at first when you look at luxury product on the market, it really followed a more traditional sense where, the coffered ceilings have the crown molding and you have more of like a shaker style kitchen with shaker style doors. Really getting into the interiors of the space and having those clean lines that really reflected the Miami vibe, I really do feel that contemporary feel was something that a lot of purchasers and a lot of people who are interested in the project didn't necessarily know that they wanted, but when they see it, they're like, wow. When you really think of luxury and, speaking to a lot of the homes in Forest Hill, the concept and the mind always goes towards more of a traditional style design. And I really do feel that, that Miami style interior design that we had for the interiors really made the project different than the competitors that are out there in the luxury market, which I think was something special that that your team was able to embody in the project.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the overall design is definitely like a contemporary sophistication meets like a refined casual. We wanted to step away from tradition. The exterior of the building is quite contemporary, and we felt that, a lot of that language can transition to the inside.
I really do feel that, what really did make the project unique as well, we really did look at each specific unit design, and we really walked it ourselves. And from a design perspective, you guys obviously assisted in making sure that the whole unit flowed properly, but really being able to define kind of the spaces where it would be a den, a master bedroom, the kitchen, And one thing that is my personal favorite of all the units is regardless of the size, whether it's our 1,000 square foot units or our 3,000 plus square foot units, they all have these massive ensuite spa-like bathrooms that, you know, accommodate both a freestanding tub, a double vanity, as well as a shower, and in some cases a separate water closet, which I think is something that's really unique because that's really only something that you either see in a detached home that's of a larger scale, or you see in a hotel room, which I think is really cool that we were able to transition that regardless of the size of the unit. And it was really something that translated through the entire building, where it doesn't matter the size, doesn't matter what floor it's on, or if it has a premium view or what have you. They really all share this massive ensuite washroom. And it really is designed with that sleek, contemporary look that is really cool and it's really functional. You know, when you look at a building, when people always say, you know, you design from the outside in, we really did design from the inside out. Our main priority was making sure that each of these unit layouts really worked. And your team was extremely instrumental in that because you guys really lived in each space. And when you were looking at each suite, you really did look like you were living in the space saying, well, this isn't functional, this is functional, let's change this. And I really feel like that does make our project extremely unique, whereas we looked at each individual suite as opposed to the building as a whole.
You know, if you're coming home and you're walking through from the moment you walk through the lobby in the building, what do you want to see? You know, what would you appreciate? And for a lot of people who are downsizing or empty nesters, it's very hard for them to wrap their minds around condo living. It's a very different lifestyle. So we really tried to incorporate what they love from their homes that they can still have essentially their home in the sky, but then get all the amenities and the services that the condo lifestyle has to offer.
And I really do feel, you know, as we keep saying, like, you know, luxury is an experience. It's not just, you know, a beautiful table or what have you. And your team really was able to embody that. It wasn't that we just picked something that was nice on the walls or nice flooring. You really did capture that experience when you walk in. You could see it in the lobby, in the grand lobby entrance. And I really do feel that your team did an incredible job at really bringing this project to life and really creating homes for all the purchasers and all the residents who will end up living in this building.
Sounds good. I mean, it was a team effort, for sure.
It was great. It's been a fun ride, that's for sure. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it. It's been great to see you again and to talk about this project and for being a part of it. It's fantastic, and we're excited to have everyone here and residents to move in so we can actually see your masterpiece come to life.
Looking forward to it as well.
Thank you so much, Kelly.
Continuing on, I want to offer a warm welcome to Enzo Carrazza, co-founder and principal at GNC Architects. Enzo has had a hand in creating so many communities here in Toronto. From condominiums to mixed use, he's done it all and beautifully well. Hi, Enzo.
Hi, Kara. Hi, Jordan.
Let's start off this evening with Forest Hill Private Residences. Can you tell us about the project and what went into its design? So
from a design perspective, there's a couple of unique things, obviously, that the site offers. The first thing is obviously its location. Probably center ice in my eyes as far as luxury areas go. But it's got two unique characters. The first being the fact that it's on St. Clair. And the north half of the building is actually in a neighborhoods designation. So we're trying to respond to both facets, both the urban design facet and basically the fact that we've got neighborhoods in behind. So the front of the building is basically responding to that, and the back of the building responds to the natural surroundings that we find in the neighborhoods, mainly the greenery. So we've purposely terraced the building back in order to allow for expansive terraces on the back side of the building for each of the residences. When we all sat around the table and were designing the building, we looked at what is our buyer demographic? Who's going to be living here? And a lot of the residents are going to be downsizers. They're going to be coming from homes in the neighborhood. They're empty nesters. And that space, that outdoor space, is so important to them. Because if you really think about your home, it's very rare you're out on your grass in your backyard, but you utilize a lot of your time on the deck. And really our terracing allows, it's really the same function. So you're not sacrificing that coming into the condominium. And I think that was very important. And just from the feedback we've been getting from a lot of our clients who are in the spaces, that's so important to them because they don't want to give that up when coming into a condominium versus leaving their home. It's really a mini backyard, if you want to call it that, but on top of that, there's a carpet of green when you're looking out towards the north, because you've got the tops of the trees, especially in the summer. It's just fabulous.
And I think that, again, that goes back to you feel you really are a home in the sky. You have all the benefits of condominium living, but you still get the things that you appreciated about being in your home. We really took that into consideration in the design of this building.
Absolutely.
And I think speaking to green spaces, we really did include a lot of green spacing in our amenity space as well. And can you touch on that a little bit and why that was important in the design of this building?
The green space was an extension of the yard, basically. And I think that people appreciate the fact that we do have these deeper spaces to offer. From an amenity standpoint, basically at grade, we do have an expansive green space out in the back as well that relates both indoor and outdoor. So what we're doing to the amenity space, we're translating that back into the actual unit, which we feel is important.
And I think it goes back to the whole, the amenities, whether it be indoor or outdoor, we really wanted them to be an extension, and they were designed to be an extension of people's homes. So, the outdoor oasis that's at the back that is off of the outdoor amenity, there is, there's a serene lounge space that's there. There's tables and chairs with a barbecue to be able to have just like you would in a traditional detached home. It really is an extension of your space, and these spaces were designed with that in mind, that any type of resident, whether it be a guest or a resident of the building, they're able to come down there in the indoor or the outdoor space, and it really is an expansion of their space. It is their home. It's not an outdoor amenity. It really is their home. And maybe if we could just touch back to, I think now we were talking about the exterior of the building, maybe if you want to give your insight and your inspiration behind the porte cochere and why that was so important to us and how that kind of fit into all of the services, the porta lobby obviously that we have, the 24/7 valet. If you could just explain how that was important to the building and why we felt it was important for this caliber of building.
Well, the porte cochere is something that we find typically in a hotel. And I think that's indicative of what is happening with this building. We also felt that by adding a porte cochere, it would basically allow people to be protected, obviously from weather elements, but also to have a sense of arrival to a place rather than just dropping people off. It does have a special address, and we wanted to acknowledge that by introducing this porte cochere.
And I think that really does go into show how much, each member of the team really went into deciding and really thinking about the exterior and how it translates into the exterior. Exactly what you said. You really want to feel like you're arriving home. So I really do feel like that's a really important aspect of the building and something that we really did take into consideration when designing the exterior.
And I think to add to that, since we're talking about the exterior of the building, I'd love to give, kind of your thoughts and, why we chose the materials we chose and why we designed the building the way we designed it on the exterior and, how that kind of incorporates Forest Hill as a neighborhood.
I think what I mentioned earlier about the response, from a public realm and a more busy side of the building itself, it's got more of a flat nature to it, more vertical. In essence, trying to describe each of the actual units with this verticality and the treatment. And the back side, obviously the north side of the building being more terraced, more open, more glass. But I think, we also went searching for a material that wasn't a man-made material. We wanted something that was timeless and long-lasting. And we chose a material that was reminiscent to the area and to prominent buildings in the city that we find. Limestone was used for the majority of the building. And we accented the vertical nature of the building with granite, black granite, which defines each of the actual units themselves.
Something that was really important to us is that we didn't just have limestone on a portion of the building, that we really did embody the whole building to show that it was something that was extremely important to us and the exterior wasn't an afterthought. Usually when you're building a building and your costs obviously come in, the exterior, amongst other things, are usually things that sometimes kind of take a little bit of a backseat, naturally so. But when we were designing this building with Enzo and getting Enzo's vision in the building, which was this limestone with the granite material, we wanted to make sure that it was really embodied throughout the entire building. So not only is it shown on the St. Clair side, or just the north side, it's around the entirety of the building, which I think is something unique for any type of building in the city of Toronto, but obviously a building of this size because, obviously there is a cost associated with these types of things. And it was important for us to make sure that it was incorporated around the entire of the building.
I totally agree with that statement, Jordan, and I think the fact that we're using this timeless material really adds to the building itself.
Well, thank you so much, Enzo, for joining us this evening. It was great to get your background on the detail that went into the architecture of the building. It was a pleasure working with you the last few years, bringing this concept to life, and we really appreciate you taking the time with us this evening.
Thanks very much for having me.
Thank you, Enzo.
Thank you.
That's great.
Last but certainly not least, we have Armin Yousefi from Sotheby's International Realty Canada. As one of the leading realtors in the Toronto real estate market, Armin is uniquely familiar with Forest Hill private residences as well as the neighborhood itself. Armin, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thanks for inviting me.
Now, from a real estate perspective, what are you seeing from Toronto's luxury market? For clients who are seeking luxury homes, what are they looking for?
What I'm noticing more and more is that luxury buyers are looking for comfort. It really goes above and beyond just high-end finishes. What they want is their home to serve multiple purposes, such as having a home gym or having enough outdoor space to set up a pool and a playground for the kids. And on top of it, what I'm noticing is a lot of buyers now want separate rooms for different reasons. Everybody now wants 2 home offices, or they want a large dining space to have their kids and grandkids over during holidays. So the home has to serve more than one purpose.
And I think, we'll speak to Forest Hill Private Residences. We really took that into consideration when designing this building because we understand that a lot of our buyers are coming from homes. So they are used to, like you said, having family and grandkids and their kids over for dinners and holidays. And that's a very important aspect. And we were talking about this earlier this evening, that they don't want to lose. They still want to be able to do that. And we've really designed our suites with those spaces in mind that they can still entertain, but they can also go down to our amenity space where we have our 20-seater dining table, and they can entertain from there with our private caterer's kitchen. I want to touch on the dens and the home office and that sort of space because it's funny, and we've talked about this so much tonight, but we really planned, we started planning this building over 2 years ago, and we really took into consideration a lot of things that now people are starting to see and want, but we were already thinking about those things 2 years ago. So dens, for example, we really tried to incorporate den spaces that could function as a home office, as a home study, even a spare small bedroom for grandchildren. We have a lot of people who are young families, like you mentioned, that they want to get into the area because of the private schools, public schools, and they need functionality. And everyone's functionality is different. And I think that's what was really unique about this building and about the way we've designed this product. What are you seeing buyers are looking for when it comes to condominiums in the city?
So there's a few different elements that buyers look for. The predominant element is stress-free, worry-free living. And by that, what I mean is that the complex that anyone within that category would want to move into has to have the right concierge services. It also has to have the right amenities. So most luxury condo buyers are looking for sort of a one-stop shop in a sense that if they're traveling extensively, they want to be able to call the concierge and have them pick up their mail or maybe even water their plants and arrange for a car service at the right time to pick them up or drop them off at the airport. So services are the key element of what buyers are looking for. Beyond that, amenities also add to the overall comfort of everyday living, and it is important for any luxury condominium complex to have that, and that's really what Forest Hill Private Residences provides. It's almost as though you're moving into a resort with every comfort that you would expect on a daily basis. And also a lot of luxury condo buyers look for a sense of community. And I really truly believe that this development provides all that. You're situated in an established neighborhood with an extensive level of history and architecturally significant homes. And I think it's important for that luxury condo buyer to know who their neighbors are.
Yeah, and I think to that point too, we completely agree. And when we all sat down, I think this is a very unique location it's, to try to find a caliber of project that we're doing, but also in Forest Hill is extremely difficult. And I think we really, did it right in taking into consideration everything that the neighborhood has to offer, but then everything that, we'll go back to services, and we've been talking about this evening a lot, but I think it's so important because a lot of developers promise those things, but they don't necessarily relay when the building is complete. And that was one of the biggest things that we sat around the table with the consultants and, what are we going to do with Forest Hill, private residence? How are we designing it? And that was such a big aspect of it. It wasn't just, yes, our amenities and yes, our suite designs, but our services. To have that comfort for residents to be able to call down, if they're going to Florida for half the year and they want to have their car shipped out, someone can do it for them. Our amenity service with the sommelier and our exclusive wine
huge.
collection and the wine storage. Like, these are things that, are very unique, and I think are going to be, yes, they're in demand now, and I think more and more because of everything that's going on right now in the world.
I think one factor that we have to touch upon is that the pace of life is increasing for everybody, whether you're of an older age demographic or whether you're of a younger age demographic. And just pointing to what you were mentioning earlier, this development provides a service that's essentially a phone call away. And I know that we're elaborating on this topic a little bit more, but every condo buyer that I've spoken to, especially at this caliber, wants that service, because when you look at maintenance fees, the common question from purchasers is, what am I paying for? Well, in this development, you're paying for peace of mind at any given time. And developments of this size are also very rare in Toronto, because most developments end up taking place at busy corners, whereas this project is tucked away in a strictly residential neighborhood. And it's also removed from the hustle and bustle of some of the major intersections in the city. But if you need to walk to that intersection that gives you a lot of amenities, it's a 5 to 10 minute walk away. And also it enables you to walk to the grocery store, walk to the village to meet with your friends for a coffee or whatever the case may be. And more boutique developments are becoming scarce in the city. So I truly believe that this is going to be one of the last developments in Forest Hill.
When the property came up for, when we originally were about to purchase it, we knew that this was a diamond in the rough and that we weren't going to find another property like this. And so, it just goes to show in both the interior, the exterior, the project itself, how important it is to us and all the efforts that we went into developing it.
Well, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
My
It
pleasure.
was great to get your insight on the luxury market, and we really appreciate you being here.
Thank you
Thanks,
for inviting me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to all of our incredible guests this evening. Jordan, before we go, do you have any final thoughts?
Thanks, Kara. We had some fantastic conversations tonight and hope you all found them interesting and informative. From the luxury market to the uniqueness of Forest Hill and the incredible amenities and designs of Forest Hill private residences, we've heard it all tonight, and I'm so glad we could be a part of it.
Absolutely. And of course, we want to thank all of our viewers and attendees who joined us this evening. If you have any questions for our guests, please leave them in the chat and they will get back to you shortly. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.
Home is a very personal thing, and I think when we speak about creating a home, it takes years to do that. But I think what we're trying to achieve in the design of this building, in the detail of the building, is to give you that sense of home and all you need to do is add to it. We are creating a palette that we feel will make you feel like you're at home because of the materiality, how we treat the spaces, flowing from one room to the other. We're trying to add all those things that we would normally create on our own to our home, but provide it to you right from the onset.
For me is really important. I'm so busy, so when I come home, I need to feel that this is my sanctuary. Like I really feel that I can come down off the really busy day. What I love about the Forest Hill project is that wherever you almost look out, you have this amazing sort of green space. And so it already sets the mood and the tone for how you're going to feel when you walk into the doors of your home. I have a dog. I love being able to walk him through the Beltline because it's just miles and miles, and it feels like an adventure in the city. You know, home truly is not just a word, but it has to be your entire sort of comfort zone for being able to be zen. I mean, that is what home really feels and means to me.
This is a picture of my partner, Rob Wise, and I, when we started doing car concierge door to door. Being in a business that services other people's homes, for me, home is comfort. It's turning off all the noise. It's being home and getting home to family and really unplugging. The best way to describe it is there's a calm when I enter my space and home, and I think that calm is a combination of the visual, so it's not too loud, too noisy, too light. It's really your senses, right? And you want to make sure that it smells just right, that it's an engaging environment that you want to be in, and that you could really relax and detach from all the noise of outside.
It's important to include specific features within the homes because we know that in this location, in this neighborhood, there'll be a lot of empty nesters and people coming from larger homes. So when we're planning the spaces, it's key to have essentially a defined foyer that you can come home to. So it's much like what you felt or the feeling that you had when you had your existing home. I guess home to me is just walking into a space. The design, the interiors are inspiring, effortless. Just having that feeling of awe when you step into the space, you're excited to come home and you get this relaxing feeling come over you. I'm inundated by color, and when I come home, I much prefer a more neutral palette, something much more calming. It's a really space that is very effortless in terms of the design and my requirements and my needs.
How many years have you been here?
The shop's been here since 1931.
88 years.
Yeah. What are you working on around now?
Actually,
The
I'm
building?
really excited about this. I found a piece of land at the corner of Forest Hill and St. Clair.
Oh, that's a beautiful spot
Yeah, 2
there.
Forest Hill
Yeah.
Road. It's unbelievable.
I love it.
I was able to finally develop something in this neighborhood where I grew up, in this neighborhood in Forest Hill, which, you know, you have the proximity to Upper Canada College, you have the proximity to Forest Hill Collegiate, you have parks all the way around. It's surrounded by the tree cover of Forest Hill.
The village is great. It's always been beautiful. Everyone knows everyone. Like if I go out somewhere around here, I always see people that I know. What does it mean to come home to you? Like what is home to you?
That feeling of calm, you know, like when you sleep in your own bed. And I love coming back to a neighborhood where I've grown up. At the end of the day, you come home. It's nothing like
It's
your own
so
bed,
true.
right?
Yeah, that's exactly the sentiment we get from customers.
Home is a very personal thing, and I think when we speak about creating a home, it takes years to do that. But I think what we're trying to achieve in the design of this building, in the detail of the building, is to give you that sense of home, and all you need to do is add to it. We are creating a palette that we feel will make you feel like you're at home because of the materiality, how we treat the spaces, flowing from one room to the other. We're trying to add all those things that we would normally create on our own to our home, but provide it to you right from the onset.
Coming home for me is really important. I'm so busy, so when I come home, I need to feel that this is my sanctuary. Like I really feel that I can come down off the really busy day. What I love about the Forest Hill project is that wherever you almost look out, you have this amazing sort of green space. And so it already sets the mood and the tone for how you're going to feel when you walk into the doors of your home. I have a dog. I love being able to walk him through the Beltline because it's just miles and miles, and it feels like an adventure in the city. You know, home truly is not just a word, but it has to be your entire sort of comfort zone for being able to be zen. I mean, that is what home really feels and means to me.
This is a picture of my partner, Rob Wise, and I, when we started doing car concierge door to door. Being in a business that services other people's homes, for me, home is comfort. It's turning off all the noise. It's being home and getting home to family and really unplugging. The best way to describe it is there's a calm when I enter my space and home, and I think that calm is a combination of the visual, so it's not too loud, too noisy, too light. It's really your senses, right? And you want to make sure that it smells just right, that it's an engaging environment that you want to be in, and that you could really relax and detach from all the noise of outside.
It's important to include specific features within the homes because we know that in this location, in this neighborhood, there'll be a lot of empty nesters and people coming from larger homes. So when we're planning the spaces, it's key to have essentially a defined foyer that you can come home to. So it's much like what you felt or the feeling that you had when you had your existing home. I guess home to me is just walking into a space. The design, the interiors are inspiring, effortless. Just having that feeling of awe when you step into the space, you're excited to come home and you get this relaxing feeling come over you. I'm inundated by color, and when I come home, I much prefer a more neutral palette, something much more calming. It's a really space that is very effortless in terms of the design and my requirements and my needs.